You might look around and wonder how some people seem to age so gracefully. Their eyes are bright, their steps are steady, and their laughter comes easily, like the weight of the years hasn't touched them the way it has others. And then there's that quiet question in the back of your mind. Is it just good luck, good genes, or something else entirely? The truth is, while luck and genetics play a part, they're far from the full picture. In fact, most researchers agree that the biggest influence on how long and how well we live comes down to the choices we make every single day. Those small habits that seem ordinary, even boring, but quietly shape the course of our lives like water carving a canyon. And the beauty of it is, it's never too late to start making those choices. Now, imagine waking up each morning feeling a sense of clarity, not just in your mind, but in your body. You don't feel stiff. You're not groaning as you get out bed. There's no dread about the day ahead. Instead, there's energy, motivation, a spark that reminds you you're still very much alive. This isn't fantasy. This is the result of intentional living. Most people think aging is about decline, losing strength, losing memory, losing relevance. But in reality, aging can be about gaining wisdom, gaining freedom, gaining perspective. And when you make the right decisions, you can also gain time, good time. Not just years on a calendar, but years filled with independence, clarity, and joy. There's something deeply powerful in realizing that your health is still within your control. You don't need a personal chef or $1 million gym. You don't need to move to a fancy wellness retreat or take exotic supplements. What you need is awareness. The awareness that small daily actions either build you up or slowly break you down. And most people don't even realize which side they're on until it's too late. Let's take something as simple as breathing. You do it all day without thinking. But have you ever noticed how you breathe when you're anxious? Shallow, quick, uneven. That kind of breathing tells your nervous system that something's wrong even if you're just sitting in your chair. Now imagine retraining your breath, slowing it down, breathing deeper. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But this one small adjustment can lower your blood pressure, calm your brain, and even reduce inflammation in your body. That's one choice, one shift, and it changes everything. Or think about movement. Not just walking, but how you move. Are you stiff when you sit? Do your joints ache when you stand? It's not just age, it's the result of habits. When you stay still too long, the body forgets how to be fluid. Muscles tighten, blood slows, energy fades. But when you incorporate just a bit of intentional movement, reaching, stretching, rolling your shoulders, flexing your ankles, you send a message to your entire system. I'm still here. I'm still active. I'm not done yet. But perhaps the most overlooked part of longevity isn't physical. It's emotional. Have you ever noticed how stress sticks to you more now than it used to? A disagreement with your kids, an unexpected bill, a moment of loneliness? It lingers, not just in your mind, but in your body. Science shows that chronic emotional stress accelerates biological aging. It shortens something called telomeres, those protective caps on your DNA that determine how fast your cells wear out. The more stressed you are, the faster those caps fray. And once they're gone, the body starts to break down. But here's the incredible part. The opposite is also true. Laughter, gratitude, deep connection, they don't just feel good. They're protective. They slow aging. They lengthen those telomeres. They rebuild what stress tears down. So when you choose joy, even in a small way, smiling at a stranger, listening to music that moves you, forgiving someone you've held a grudge against, you are literally choosing to live longer. It's easy to think these things are too small to matter, but that's the trap. Because they do matter, and over time they matter more than anything else. There's a quiet kind of power in taking charge of your day, even in the smallest ways. It starts with the morning, those first few moments when your eyes open and you become aware of your breath, your body, your space. Most people roll out of bed and walk straight into stress, often without realizing it. The TV goes on, the phone buzzes, the news blares. And before their feet have even warmed the floor, Their nervous system is already in overdrive. But what if instead you gave yourself just 5 minutes? 5 minutes to wake up slowly, with intention. Maybe you sit by the window with a warm drink, feeling the light on your face. Maybe you stretch gently, not as a workout, but as a way to thank your body for carrying you into another day. That small ritual sends a signal. I'm not rushing through this life, I'm living it. And what you do next, what you put into your body, matters even more than you might think. Not just in terms of calories or fat or sugar, but in terms of fuel. At this stage of life, your cells crave clean energy. You don't need flashy detoxes or trendy diets. You need real food, whole food, foods that your grandmother would recognize, things that grew from the earth, not things that came from a lab. A handful of berries, rich in antioxidants. A piece of whole grain toast with almond butter. A couple of boiled eggs. These aren't just breakfast items. They're quiet acts of self-respect. And they do something remarkable. They lower inflammation, stabilize your blood sugar, and feed your brain the nutrients it needs to stay sharp. Because here's the truth that no one talks about enough. Your brain needs just as much care as your heart or your joints. And every bite you take either supports your memory or speeds up its decline. A diet loaded with processed food doesn't just affect your waistline, it fogs your thinking, saps your mood, and increases your risk of diseases like Alzheimer's. But it's not just about food. The mind needs stimulation too. That doesn't mean solving crossword puzzles until your eyes cross. It means curiosity, engagement, purpose, reading a new book, learning a new skill, trying a new recipe, even having a thoughtful conversation with someone who sees the world differently than you do. These are not just hobbies, they are lifelines. Your brain is a muscle, and like any muscle, it weakens with neglect. But with use, it stays strong, surprisingly strong. And don't underestimate the power of sunlight. It sounds too simple, doesn't it? But stepping outside and letting the sun hit your skin, especially in the early part of the day, helps regulate your sleep, supports your immune system, and improves your mood. Older adults often struggle with disrupted sleep, and yet many never realize that the fix starts in the morning. Just 20 minutes outside can help reset your internal clock. It tells your body, this is day, this is life. This is when I'm meant to be awake and alert. You don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to transform into a raw vegan yogi. What you do need is rhythm. A life that flows, not with chaos and noise, but with care and consistency. The kind of life where you move your body not because you're trying to look younger, but because you want to feel capable. Where you nourish your mind not because you're afraid of decline, but because you believe it's still growing. And maybe most importantly, where you protect your peace. Because without peace, without moments of stillness, of reflection, of true rest, no amount of healthy food or walking will undo the damage. We live in a world that worships productivity, even in retirement. But rest isn't laziness, it's repair, it's healing. And sometimes the healthiest choice you can make is to sit quietly with a cup of tea, let your shoulders drop, and simply be. So when you think about longevity, don't just think of years, think of presence, think of clarity, think of the life still waiting for you. Not a life defined by age, but by energy, freedom, and joy. As the years stretch on, the most valuable things in life often become the quietest. A good night's sleep, a steady heart, joints that don't ache, the ability to stand up without effort, to walk without fear of falling. These simple gifts are easy to overlook until you start to lose them. But here's the thing, most of them aren't lost suddenly. They slip away slowly through years of tiny choices. Or just as powerfully, they can be preserved through the same. Let's talk about movement. Not just exercise, but movement. There's a difference. Exercise is something people tend to schedule. A walk, a class, a swim. Movement is something you live. It's choosing the stairs instead of the elevator. It's gardening for 30 minutes instead of watching TV for 3 hours. It's dancing in the kitchen when your favorite song comes on. It's getting up and stretching during commercials or taking an evening stroll to breathe the air and feel your body in space. The human body was never designed for stillness. And as we age, stillness becomes the greatest thief. Sitting for hours weakens the muscles, stiffens the spine, clogs the circulation, and quietly robs you of balance. You don't need a gym membership. You just need to move, often, mindfully, and with joy. But even more than that, you need connection. Longevity isn't just about what you eat or how you move. It's about why you get up in the morning. And that why often comes down to love, to meaning, to the warmth of a voice on the phone, the kindness of a neighbor, the companionship of a pet, or the purpose you feel when helping someone else. Isolation shortens lives. It's not just emotionally painful, it's biologically damaging. It raises inflammation, spikes cortisol, and increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and even dementia. And yet so many people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond silently drift away from others. They assume they're too old to make new friends, to be needed, to be seen. But that's simply not true. Your presence still matters. Your wisdom still has value. And your connection to others is not only a gift to them, but a life-saving force for you. Sometimes it starts with something small: joining a book club, volunteering once a week, reaching out to an old friend, smiling at a stranger, saying yes to the invitation even when it feels easier to stay home. The more you lean into connection, even in small, quiet ways, the more you feed your soul and protect your body at the same time. And then there's purpose. You don't need to cure cancer or start a charity to have purpose. Purpose can be as simple as tending your garden, helping raise a grandchild, or sharing your story with someone who needs it. It's about doing something that makes you feel alive, that gives your day shape, that reminds you you're not just existing, you're participating. Purpose doesn't come from big accomplishments. It comes from a sense of usefulness, of knowing that you matter. And when you live with purpose, your brain sharpens, your heart steadies, and your immune system gets stronger. Science is finally proving what the soul has always known. People with purpose live longer, happier lives. But all of this, nutrition, movement, rest, connection, purpose, it only works when you believe you're worth the effort. And that's where so many people struggle, especially as the world gets louder with messages that say, you're too old, or you're past your prime. But that's a lie. You are not too old. Your prime is not behind you. You are still in the game. Every single morning you wake up is another chance to choose life, to protect your joy, to nurture your health, to create beauty, however you define it. The truth is, longevity isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the body and mind you have right now. It's about making choices today that your future self will quietly thank you for. Choices that don't require perfection, just consistency. And if you're still here, listening to this, then there's still time. There's still possibility. There's still so much good waiting to be lived. One of the most powerful truths about aging is this: it's not a decline, it's a return. A return to yourself, to clarity, to simplicity, and if you let it, to freedom. Because when you're no longer racing through life, chasing promotions or raising children or proving yourself to the world, you finally have a chance to ask, what really matters now? That's the moment everything starts to shift. You stop tolerating people who drain your energy. You let go of habits that never served you. You start craving peace more than noise, truth more than approval, and health more than indulgence. That shift is not something to fear, it's something to celebrate. Because in that space, where quiet meets purpose, you start making better choices. Not because someone told you to, but because you want to. You begin to eat differently, not out of guilt, but out of respect for the body that's carried you this far. You move more, not to look younger, but to feel alive. You sleep better because you finally understand that rest isn't laziness. It's fuel, and you love more wisely. You stop wasting energy on people who don't show up for you. You find joy in deeper, slower relationships, the kind that aren't built on shared history, but shared presence. A good conversation, a walk in silence, a kind touch, a meaningful laugh. These become your wealth now, and that wealth nourishes your heart in ways no pill or supplement ever could. The truth is, the fountain of youth isn't something you find, it's something you build, slowly, daily, with ordinary habits that quietly add up to extraordinary years. It's the glass of water you drink first thing in the morning instead of soda. It's the 15-minute walk you take around the block even when you'd rather stay on the couch. It's the plate of vegetables you prepare instead of processed food, not because you have to, but because you know your body will thank you for it tomorrow. It's saying no to late-night news that spikes your stress, and yes to an early bedtime that restores your nervous system. It's replacing bitterness with gratitude, complaints with curiosity, fear with faith. Because every one of those small actions, those seemingly unimportant decisions, forms the foundation of your longevity. Your life doesn't change all at once. It changes in moments, in meals, in movement, in mindset. And yes, there will be hard days. Aging is not a fairy tale. There are losses, there are aches, there are goodbyes. But the beauty of growing older is that you've already survived so much. You've endured, rebuilt, adapted. You have a history of overcoming. You are not fragile. You are seasoned. You have wisdom that young people can't Google. You have strength that isn't loud but deeply rooted. You've learned how to heal, how to forgive, how to begin again. And so the invitation is this: choose to live. Not to exist, not to drift, but to live. Fully, consciously, lovingly. Because your life, yes, your life, still matters. Not just to the people around you, but to the world itself. You are not invisible. You are not done. You are still becoming. And the longer you're here, the more you can shape a legacy of health, joy, resilience, and love that extends far beyond your years. So take a deep breath, stand tall, look in the mirror, and remember, living longer isn't luck. It's you, showing up again and again for the life that still wants to be lived.